Remember, the show is PG-13, so you might hear a naughty word or two.
5 more world champions were crowned today on the final day of World Championships from Antwerp, Belgium. More history for Simone Biles and Rebecca Andrade and Flavia Brazil. Basically, we're talking about Brazil this episode. It's October 8th, and welcome to the #1 gymnastics podcast in the galaxy, Gymcastic. I'm Jessica, and here with Spencer from the Balance Beam Situation. And today's show, we have so much to talk about. So let's start with the 100% most important competition at any World Championships or Olympics.
Correct. The beam final.
The beam final. True test of a gymnast. The beam final.
We might have time to talk about other finals, but like
Maybe.
the less important finals, maybe. There might be a smidge of time we could devote to them, but no, this is the final day is about the beam final, the most important competition. So Simone Biles, gold medal on beam. Definitely her best beam of the year.
Period.
She was just like, the world is over. I'm going home. I'm going to get on the beam. I'm going to do my 4-second long routine. I'm not going to wobble. I'm going to just see ya. Done.
Yeah. It was hands down the best routine she's done all year. Period. All year. She saved it for the beam final. Not a wiggle, a
you
wobble.
Think best routine on any event all year, or just her best beam of the year?
Is it her best?
Because I feel like there's been some floor that I would rank.
There was a floor. Yeah, her team final. Was it? Wait, which one? Yeah, team finals floor, I think, was her best floor of the year.
Yeah.
But this was her best beam routine of the year. Like so I do think that Zhao's routine was the most beamy beam routine. And I love it. But what I also love about this podium is we have Simone, who's doing the least for the least deductions for the most perfect routine. And then we have Zhao, who's doing the most beautiful, like, if you look up Chinese beam in the dictionary, there's a picture of her doing beam. She takes way more risks. But she also shows so much more variety of kinds of gymnastics. So I love that you can be the best in the world with different kinds of gymnastics. And then we have Andrade, who brings like a little bit of both to her beam routine, who took bronze. I do want to talk about the artistry and score deductions, because those are married together in the final score and we can't see them. But since, and I believe Fact Checker has a photo to show in here somewhere, we can actually see the judges judging, so we can see their artistry deductions and the score deductions. So I want to tell you what they were for each of our medalists. So Simone on beam, there's 3 judges that do this. So one judge took 0.2 for artistry, another 0.2, and one took 0.4. And then all of them had 1.7 in score deductions. So this is where
includes the artistry, like the score total. So that's the judge who had 0.4 had 1.3 in like skill execution, and then 0.4 in artistry to get to the 1.7 in deductions.
No, the 1.7 wasn't the final for her What's her score? It should be lower than that, because the 1.7.
Yeah, Simone's score was
it 9.3?
Was it 8.3?
Oh, okay, that's right then. You're right, Spencer. Shocking. So I wanted to show, if you're a visual listener, this is like where I'm sitting, so I could see the judges' scores and artistry scores. But also I wanted to show this picture so that you can see how high the judges are. They're just like, they're probably like 2 feet above the top of the beam. So they're not looking up into the lights. They're looking directly at the beam. So I just wanted to show you guys that picture and see. I've highlighted it like an expert.
Because I wouldn't have known where the beam was if you hadn't highlighted it in the picture. I would have been like, where's the beam?
Don't make me come over there, Spencer. So I'm just really impressed with Simone, how she handled herself the whole time. I asked her in the mixed zone at the end, I've asked her this question before, but I wanted to see if it changed at all. And I asked her, what is the most important thing now that you're done? You've finished Worlds, you have these medals, you did it successfully, you made it through the whole competition. What's the most successful thing? What was the thing you changed that got you to this point? And she gave the same answer again, because I wanted to see if it was different this time, if she was going to go back and be like, actually, it's having a fancy dinner immediately ready for me after every competition 20 minutes after I walk off the floor, because that's the photo that she tweeted tonight or put up. But she said that it was saying no to things, not doing as many things, saying no. And I think that is, I mean, all of us have demands on our lives, but when you have the demand of being a brand, that's even harder. So that was interesting to hear that was the same. Putting limits, like she didn't do as much media as she normally does. And she didn't make many stops. So Zhao's beam, let's talk about that. Oh my God, did you love the dragon on her Leo? A dragon face, a green dragon, green eyes to go with the green dragon.
I loved her front handspring, front tuck to immediate leap combination. That was perfect.
Yeah. And her side flip, we've talked about it before. It's a side flip where she stops midair and then places each foot gently on the beam to tuck jump full turn to straight jump full turn. And she does it transverse. So she's facing the judges, not facing it's so hard, you guys. Like, it's just, her precision beam paid off. It's beautiful. But the thing is, she had little pauses, tiny wobbles, adjustments. Yeah. So, and Simone was nothing. It was like she got up and she just basically butter until she dismounted, as Fanny Tamsin would say, in the name of Fanny Tamsin. And her artistry deductions were 0.2, 0.2, and 0.5, 0.05. So that it was interesting to me to see that 0.05.
You can't give a 0.05 deduction in
0.5.
elite.
Are all of my zeros in the wrong place? Oh, yeah, it was 5/10, not 2/10.
Are all zeros in the right place? Yes. We just assumed that.
It's the last.
So was this the
last
same?
Week of 2 weeks daily podcast. I'm a little rough.
So one judge had 0.2. So for Simone, they had 0.2, 0.2, 0.4. For Zhao, they had 0.2, 0.2, 0.5. So was the 0.4 and the 0.5 judge the same person?
The same ones.
Oh, I have a favorite judge.
Right.
It's like, you were doing 0.2. I'm going to double it, if maybe more.
I mean, that's the thing. As long as you're taking the same deductions every time, that's consistent. There was the one harder judge and the two that saw things differently. Andrade's beam also excellent, and her bright yellow leotard that went with the Belgian butterfly was back. Did you see during warm-ups? Even Cecile stopped and watched the butterfly for a second during it is definitely a butterfly. I got a close-up look this time. It's not like a sewer moth. It's not that we don't also need sewer moths in nature, but that's not what it is.
Jessica was worried about getting canceled by sewer moths there for a second. So she needed to go back and retrack and be like, wait, I don't want to make any of the sewer moths feel like they're not included in this experience.
Someone's going to make a sewer moth Twitter just to yell at me.
Yeah.
It still smells like absolute trash in there, you guys. Oh, what an arena. So, yes.
Andrade. We were talking about Andrade.
A black butterfly with some orange colors. And the butterfly and the Brazil and a yellow leotard. Now you ruined it with the sewer moth. Anyway, Andrade was fantastic. But she did have a little boost.
She had that one wobble at the beginning, and I was worried about where it was going to go. But the rest of it was so perfect that was okay.
It was that 1 second, but she's so clean overall that it was lovely. I thought this was absolutely the correct beam result. I don't have any problem with it.
Yeah, I don't think I do either.
Even though
also I've run out of takes. I feel like I've had so many takes on things that today I was just like, yeah, sure, that seems fine.
That's fine.
Enjoy your medals. That's good. But yes, I didn't have any real qualms. There were other excellent routines in the final. Like we had Sana, who finished in 4th, just out of the medals. Great routine.
What did you think of her choreo? Apparently, it's a choreographer from So You Think You Can Dance, Netherlands, who did her choreography.
I'm into it because I paid attention this time. I made a point to pay attention this time. And I'm into it because it's a different look.
Yeah.
It's just like, no one else is doing that.
Right.
It's beam choreography, so it can't be like expansive because you're on a beam, but it is like you can do more than most people do.
Right.
Who think like, oh, it's beam choreography, so I'll wiggle and like point my wrist and then that's it. But
I think she said that she also, so there's an interview with her that we'll have up later, including our Simone interview. And the thing that's interesting is like she was very like honest, like you are, Spencer, that at first she was like, this is weird. I don't know how I feel about this. But yeah, I was like, it's totally pushing the boundaries. Like you did something different with the way that you do beam, and now you're doing it again with her choreography. And so, yeah, and she said she's still like loving gymnastics, and that's so nice to see. And it's so great that she got into the final. I just appreciate what she brings to the sport. And then hopefully her bars, you know, she's like, my bars weren't consistent enough, but hopefully she'll bring that skill too to bars. Urara Ashikawa.
Yes.
Impressive save in that routine.
What did she save?
She saved her. What was it? Hold on. Let me look at my notes. I have Ashikawa almost missed a hand on her mount. You didn't see on her mount? She only put one of her hands was only fingertips and the other hand got on the beam.
Oh, I missed that entirely.
Oh, God. Thank God I'm here.
I mean, what would we do?
Exactly. Thank God I'm there in person, sitting right next to the beam where I was always meant to be. She did that, and you couldn't even tell, right? You didn't think it was an impressive save because you didn't even see that she wobbled.
Notice.
Yeah, she did a really nice job, but it wasn't. You know, it was. This is why I think everyone had little things except Simone, who had nothing. It was just perfect. And then Schaefer, she missed her mount connection, and then she fell onto the beam. Oh, that stupid beam!
The switch rings. They got you today with the switch rings. Yeah.
When is the last time that you have seen two people fall onto the beam in a beam final? Not off of it.
Yeah.
Onto it.
Onto it. Yeah, it was unusual, but you know, it happens.
I appreciate them trying something new. What did you think of her?
Falling onto the beam is trying something new.
I mean, it's not new, but, you know, like throwing a little pizzazz into the fall. I'm going to
try something new. I'm going to fall today on beam.
Right onto this beam. Instead of off or under, you know.
Okay, so question about Schaefer wearing the unitard, Germany. So it was black today. And on our angle, or like, you know, mostly black. From our angle, it really blended into the background and the ceiling of the arena, and it made me think about the rule in men's that you can't wear black pants or black socks because the judges can't see your deductions well enough. And it made me think if they are going to import that rule from men's.
So
it was actually really cool looking, the way she blended in, and she just had those like little stripies and wiggles, and it looked like that was all she had, and it was like a delightful visual, but also made me think whether they're going to do that.
Yeah, I loved this one of the unitards because it was a different design than we usually get from them, and I like that they're progressing the design and doing something different. So I took that picture of beam not just to show where I was sitting in the E&D scores, but to show that like the judges are looking slightly down on beam instead of directly up into the lights. So since the judges are supposed to technically sit level with the podium or the apparatus, I don't think is going to be an issue.
So we also had Zhang Qingying, potentially the highest difficulty in the final, if she did everything, fall onto the beam. But so she didn't have a great routine, didn't medal. That's, you know, it happens. I have an issue with the scoring here.
Yeah.
And I have significant questions because how did she get a 13-1 for this routine when she fell onto the beam on a switch ring and had the same error on her transverse swing down that she did
Corbett to rib stomach.
Basically the same thing that she did in the team final when she scored 13.266. And today she did the same thing, but also fell on the switch ring and scored 13-1.
Yeah, that's not possible.
It's like that is.
So they didn't take for the fall.
That means that's basically the same mistake was evaluated completely differently in the team final versus in the event final.
Here's the thing, though. She did not do her Corbett transverse. She didn't have the same fall that she did. This time,
I think it was pretty similar.
No, the last one, the one she did before, her hand slipped and she like crashed onto her ribs. This one, it was smoothly landed, but she landed so far forward that she just like, what would this be called? She circled the beam like a piece of wet paper. So it's a mistake. It's a lack of control, as opposed to, I would take a less lack of control than I would have for what I would say was almost a crash, like a fall onto the beam, which she did in prelims. Like, does that distinction make sense?
In the team final. What you're saying makes sense. I just don't agree with what you saw.
Okay, yeah.
That's not what I saw.
Like the first, when she did it in team finals, I thought she broke her ribs. This time I was like, oh, she just probably farted. That's the only difference. Does that make like if you had anything in your stomach, it just came out, because that's the difference between where she landed. Yeah. But anyway, it's nuance.
Anyway, I thought yeah. I'm gonna make Jessica go back and watch these like in 2 weeks when we come back, and we'll revisit
and I mean, I watched it live, and then I just watched the replay in the arena, but I don't know if that's the same right. Camera angle.
That's why I think we're gonna revisit it.
Oh, we'll revisit it, Spencer.
I'll revisit it so hard you won't even know what tomorrow is. Okay, so other people we want to talk about in the beam final. Shilese fell on her dismount.
It just seemed like she ran out of juice, because it was so pretty. I feel like she felt like it was all there, because she did a beautiful pike position and then was like, hands down.
Yeah.
I just feel like it was a juice problem. She needed more waffles beforehand. Everyone is obsessed with the waffles in the arena. All the athletes are having the waffles. This is like they're immediately when the meet ends, they're having these waffles. They have like a crispy sugar coating on the top of them. Anyway, she had one right after the last meet, so I feel like she should change it to right before the routine waffle instead of post-routine waffle. And her artistry deductions were a 10th, 2 tenths, and 2 tenths. Again, so
she got the fewest.
Yep.
Artistry deductions.
Yes. Of everyone, yeah, she did. Of the ones that I was paying attention to and taking note of, yes, she did. Yeah, and then her E deductions 2.5, 2.3, 2.8.
So she would have been right there with a hit. She
would have been there. Yep. Any other routines? I think we talked about everybody's. Yeah.
Yeah. But yes, I agree. I didn't have an issue with the order.
Yeah. I think it was all correct. I think it was I think it was all good. No problem with this beam final. Most controversial opinion we've ever had.
We don't have a problem with the ranking in a beam final. Yeah, that may be the first time that's ever happened.
It was really enjoyable to watch. All different kinds and like styles of beam, which I love seeing too. Okay, women's floor.
Yes, Simone Biles, gold medalist. Her other gold of the day. Andrade, silver medalist. Her other medal of the day, which also brings her to 9 world medals, which ties her with Bogey and Shannon and Nastia. Like, she's racing up the list.
Yes. And she just looks like great all the time. Like, there's no sign of her slowing down. I feel like they have it figured out for her. Like, she has it figured out. Her coaches have it figured out. And she can just keep going and going and going, which I would love to see.
And I really liked how close she was able to come to Simone in the rankings, because in the past it was like, for a floor final, it was like, as long as Simone shows up. And Simone didn't have like her best. Well, it was a great routine except for the Biles landing when she got ejected out of bounds. But like other than that, so it wasn't going to be her best score, but it was a good routine. And Andrade still got close.
Do you think they deducted that as an ejection out of the floor, or do you think they deducted that as a stag jump?
No, she didn't even try the stag position. That's just a landing error.
That was just let me split my legs so I don't land on my face. Yeah, which she did very well. She did not land on her face.
Yeah.
She conquered the floor monster today.
She's done a good job not tripping throughout.
Yes.
The competition on floor.
Was there any time when you thought it was close, like she wasn't going to win?
No. That's the extent of my answer. No, I thought Simone was going to win.
Andrade's like landings were, I mean, her tumbling was great, but it wasn't as precise as it could be. But when Andrade did her triple,
I think she only did a double today.
Yeah. A double Y, and then held it again and jumped out of it. And when I asked her afterwards, and that interview should be up soon, I asked her, like, that was so perfect, and you did it 2 meets in a row. Like, how many times in practice do you actually finish that held and releve and then jump? And she was like, almost never. She was the same thing. Like, I don't know how I did it right when it counted. But yeah, that was it. I don't know. I think you can tell. It's like one thing for dancers to do that. It's like hard, but they're doing it on the ground. And it's another thing for rhythmic gymnasts to do it, but they're on a harder surface than a gymnastics floor. It's another thing to turn like that and finish and hold it and releve and pause like that and releve on a squishy ass floor with springs in it. It's just not meant for that kind of turning. This is why people wear those little shoes and break their toes all the time on the carpet. Like, it's so hard to do that. I mean, just like Shilese, every time she tried that turn this time, it did not go well for her. The double turn or the triple turn, the turn out of it today. So I think that in my estimation, that was what went wrong with Shilese's routine today, is she didn't get credit for either of her turns.
Yeah, she was down to a 5.5 D again today, which is like what she gets when she got big downgrades.
Yeah.
That's the thing we'll come back to the medalists in a second, but that's the thing for Shilese. I feel like the one thing heading toward the Paris Olympics is resolving the D score on floor. Yes. Because she's too good at floor to be getting 5.5 D score on 2 of her 4 routines at Worlds. And there's a big disparity between what we're seeing at Nationals versus Worlds 2 years in a row. And it's not for execution. It's for the difficulty score. Like, she got a 5.9 D both day of Nationals this year. And it was at Worlds, it was 5.7, 5.5, 5.6, 5.5.
And do you think the turn was any different?
It was, I mean, there was that one day at Nationals when it was fantastic. Right. So some of that is like, it's not
one
like
day it was good, but it shouldn't have been a 5.9 both days of Nationals. That's what we're saying.
Yes, and not even necessarily like it's being misevaluated. It could just be she performed it better at Nationals, like that one triple L turn that was brilliant. Yeah. But it's risky enough that it's not able to be repeated again and again at Worlds. So I will be interested. I feel like that's the one thing heading toward 2024, which I don't think she'll change a lot. Maybe bring in some of those upgrades that we've been talking about on bars or beam that she, definitely has in the tank. But it's like resolving the floor dance elements so you can get credit for them every single time is going to be, I think, the biggest focus. Because she's Shilesing around and it's great.
Yeah.
Otherwise.
I do want to talk about Flavia! Finally
yes.
got her individual medal, you guys!
Wonderful to see her come back from the all-around floor routine to do just great landings.
Yep. She did so well, and she did it all to her, like, Tinkerbell Goes to Carnival in a lounge in the 60s music.
Sure.
That's what I would describe it as.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just so stoked for her. Like, she's always been capable of this, and it all came together, and now she has a totally reconstructed ankle, and that worked too. And oh my God, I don't know if you saw after the final results came out, and her surgeon, who's here, bawling his eyes out, gave her a big hug. Andrade's coach again, but that guy cries more than anybody. I mean, with good reason, of course. And we're not judging who cries. The sewer moth can cry as much as it wants to. Yeah. That guy cries so much, and every time he cries, I want to cry. I haven't even cried this whole Worlds. Well, no, that's not true. I did once. Anyway, you guys, it was just such a great, happy floor final. Like, I feel like I like this final because there was no disasters. Like, no one was devastated by what happened, I think. It's just like little things, but everybody should be pretty stoked with how they did. I think like the only thing for Simone that was different this time around is I felt like her form on some of her, like her full twisting double layout was not what it was earlier. That was the only thing that was like a little sign that she was tired. I felt like it was her knees were a little bendy because normally her form is so great on that. But other than that, I was just like, oh my God, we are alive in the time of Simone, and she's freaking amazing. Like, don't get used to this because this is not normal. But what a great group on floor too.
It wasn't as tired of a floor final as I kind of expected it to be.
Yeah. Did you see when they were coming out of the tunnel, did you see Simone like take an imaginary crown off of her head and put it on Andrade's head?
No, I didn't see that.
And then Andrade and Flavia are cracking themselves up. They are so funny all together. They're always like laughing and like grabbing each other, and they're just super cute and like lovely. And I mean, they've been competing against her the same amount of time. They've all been around for, doing this for 10 years. What else do we want to talk about? Everyone tried inquiry. Good for them.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah.
Flavia's was accepted. Shailese's was not. Yep. So Flavia, another remarkable accomplishment of Worlds, putting in an inquiry and getting it accepted.
Yeah, she should also get an award for that. Visser okay, this is my question, and I was actually asking a judge to try to figure this out, and I think what we concluded was Visser started a skill, triple full, inbounds, landed it out of bounds, punched out of bounds, right out of it into a front tuck, landed back inbounds. And there is no deduction for doing a skill, starting a skill out of bounds. You just get an out of bounds deduction.
It's no credit if a skill starts out of bounds.
Oh, it is no credit.
No difficulty, no connection value, I believe.
Okay, I'm going to send you what I was looking at, and you tell me.
Okay.
The
code has takeoff outside entirely outside the border markings, says no DV, no CV, no CR.
Oh, okay. This is what I was looking at. The border marking section. Not the... Okay.
Lady Beaverhausen agrees with me also.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
So case closed.
Yes. Step outside with both feet. Yeah. Okay. Good. Excellent. You two know. So I accept exactly what you say about it.
Because I was like, difficulty because she didn't get. So you get, the triple full, you laid it out of bounds. You just don't get the front tuck combination.
Yeah. Because I was like, I mean, if you get credit, why doesn't everybody just start on the side of the floor and just take your 3/10 out of bounds wherever you want? Just use the whole freaking thing. Like, I was like, this doesn't make any sense to me. But also, it wouldn't surprise me if during the heat of the moment reading that, I was not, reading properly, because I have more stories to tell you about what happened tonight for behind the scenes portion of the show. So, okay, so we talked about Visser. So yeah, so no credit for that. And then Kinsella, I'm so impressed with Alex Kinsella. Like 2 minutes before every meet starts, they're like, boom, you're in. You're in. Just kidding. You're in.
She at least had a day of warning for this one.
Yes, that's true. She did. Also, a little update on the Jessica Gadarova story and what happened with her. So I've heard like various stories from various people. So take this with a grain of salt, because this is, people that were back warming up and saw things out of the corner of their eyes. So someone else told me that she was actually jumping off of the, or two people said this, she was jumping just off of, like, one of the last things of the day, was having a lot of trouble with floor and vault throughout the day, and then just jumped straight off the vault just to like practice sticking a landing. And that's when she was like, ow, my knee feels weird. So seems like just, well, like they said, like a precaution. So that's good, which is smart. Like, don't do too much now, and when you have Paris coming up and you're qualified. That's the other thing. If anyone's a shoo-in, like Ellie Black has her like name written in the selection procedure, and then we have Jessica Gadarova, who might as well have her name written in the selection procedure. Do you guys have any questions about floor or beam before we go on to some behind the scenes stories that I have to tell you from today? Because
the people will let you know.
Okay.
So we should say, today, last show of Worlds 2023. Schedule is take a break next week, and then we're back for members only behind the scenes on the 20th, and then we'll have our regular show the following Monday, which is when Pan Am Games is happening. So we'll talk all about that and what's going on there. We'll also announce the commissioned episode winner, the club member who is getting a randomly drawn full commissioned episode on anything they want. And if you're new here, remember there's a I'm new here on the Gymcastic website. Click on that now. And, thanks. Thanks for being. Thanks for showing up.
Thanks for sticking around, because we're doing this all the way through Paris. We do it every single week all year. We have NCAA season coming up. We have so much more. So if you like this, we do this twice a week all year long. And we go a little more unhinged on behind the scenes than even during Worlds on regular Friday. Well. So, you can take your lunch break or your commute home and listen to us live and join in. It's really fun. And just thank you guys so much for your support and for your continued support, because this is how we, make it year to year. So thank you so much. So I wanted to, sorry, fact checker had notes for me, so I had to look over there for 1 second, but we're good. It's live. We're in another country. These things happen. So I have a behind the scenes.
Because fact checker never has notes when we're in the when you're in the US.
No, never. No. He's never like, oh, you've been canceled by a sewer bug. So normally this is when we do behind the scenes stories just for Club Gym Nerd members. But we want to, since it's a Monday essentially now, and we are off the next 2 weeks, we wanted to give you a whole episode today to thank you guys for supporting us and do our regular full episode for everyone. So I'm going to tell you some behind the scenes stories that normally I would keep just for behind the scenes. But if you like these stories, there's a whole 2 weeks of these kinds of stories that you can get in all these episodes. And we do this every week during the year. So the first thing that happened is that the officials were sent the following text message today. Would you like to read it?
Okay, the officials who are the officials?
The officials at the competition at the World Championships today.
Okay.
So FIG officials.
Okay. Would you please ensure that the athletes who are in full preparation for the competition are left alone? Apparently, 2 men in suits with accreditation spoke to Biles on the way from warm-up to the field of play just before the final. Not appreciated by the delegation and athlete. Thank you. Can someone send a text on my behalf to make sure I'm left alone? That would be awesome. I need this just as as a business card.
Should we put this?
Not appreciated. Thank you. Can we ensure that I am left alone? 2 people spoke to me. Not appreciated. Thank you.
Also, I like that it's apparently 2 men in suits. So this makes it sound like the people that wear suits are the delegation people or TV people. That's who, or the FIG people. That's who wear suits. So I wonder if, some guys fanboyed her. And that's what happened. And they shouldn't have. Or I don't know exactly what happened. Or I don't know if people just said hey, good luck. Or if people who shouldn't have been asking her questions in the press did it. But that is an unusual thing to happen, and it shouldn't have happened. The other thing that happened today is that we had an incident in the mix zone, which in 11 years of covering gymnastics and being in mix zones all around the world, including in Olympic Games, I have never experienced this. So today, Simone stopped for her to talk with the press. And, Deanna, who has been our videographer for 1 million years and is amazing and speaks 100 languages and the most loveliest person. Deanna is also a small person. So she's about 5 feet tall. And she's a badass. She also works in the NHL. She works for the NFL. She works for pro soccer. Every sport you can imagine, she has worked in. And today, this has never happened to us before, a man hit her on the head with his camera and then kept pushing down with his camera to try to move her out of the way, but was pushing her, hit her on the head and then kept trying to push down on her to move her from her spot so he could get a shot of Simone when she was already there in place. He was trying to push her out of the way. The guy was also 60 years old and 6 feet tall. And so she literally had to elbow him to stop him. I had to move in to protect her so he wouldn't physically push her out of the way. Then then there's another guy pushing into me and pushing into Deanna. And I'm sure, I don't know if this guy was meaning to or not, but I felt more of his body pressing against me than I should have. So then I turned sideways. And then I was stopping both of them from pushing into Deanna physically. So now I was smushing Deanna. And this guy in front of us is still pushing his camera down on her head. Then he just reaches over, takes her light and turns it down. So her light is not shining towards the subject anymore, which happened to be Simone. During all of this, I'm asking Simone my question and not let Simone see that this chaos is happening. And they're literally like pushing against each other. All these two men against the two of us trying to just hold our place to talk to Simone, where we were to begin with. These other dudes weren't in place and just ran over and tried to smash themselves in. So, because like one of the things that Simone said, like she doesn't like the scrum, and it's called a scrum in media for a reason, because everyone's kind of trying to get their place, but you don't generally hit people or continue to just push them down when they're smaller than you to get your shot. And she doesn't like that. And it kind of freaks her out. So she has tried to stay away from this or stay apart from it. So, when this finally ended and Simone had walked away, then Deanna turns around and is like, who hit me with their camera? This guy, then I can see how huge this dude is, who's standing in front of me. And I was like, what are you doing? You don't do that. And he, made some excuses. And I'm like, Deanna, she is 5 feet tall and she's a woman. You need to stop that kind of behavior. It's unacceptable. While we're having that conversation, he was making some excuses. Another guy comes out of nowhere and starts yelling at me, raising his voice. And I was like, I don't even know who you are. What are you talking about? That guy then tells me, the little camera guy tells me to fuck off, yells it, and runs and walks away. And I was just like, what the hell is this? Then some other camera people, reporters come up and are like, we're doing interviews. Can you guys keep it down? And I'm like, can these two dudes behave themselves in the mix zone? In all the years of covering this, I've never had something like this happen. Like people squish together, people try to get a spot, but that was like out of control. And also these camera people were not in their proper spots. Like we're only allowed to go in certain spots and they have to be in their TV spots and they weren't. They squished into our spots, which I don't have a problem with, but you don't hit people and you don't touch their equipment. Can you imagine if I just put my hand in front of like NBC's camera and was like, I'm going to push you over here? That's just totally uncalled for. It's so rude. So, I mean, in all the years of covering, like 11 years, many different countries, including the US. I don't know if you've heard about the US, but we've got some problems. I've never experienced a mix zone like this. And the problem is twofold. Like one, you cannot treat Simone Biles like other athletes. I don't care if you say there's no room for a press conference. You have to have it, because if you don't, this is the kind of stuff that happens because people are that's not the only incident that happened here, but that's the only one I have rights to tell you because it happened to me. But that's not the worst thing that happened here. People were more aggressive. And that's why I wonder if part of this was people that talked to Simone and that were accredited and took someone's accreditation or weren't supposed to be there and were trying to get to her because people are so desperate. And it's also not safe. It's not safe for her. It's not safe for the other media. And the fact that they picked an arena where they said they didn't have room for a press conference, I feel like is number one, a problem for Simone because it puts her in an unsafe situation. And number two, it's unacceptable for the press because then you get people behaving like this and then it's unsafe for everybody else. And also it just creates a situation where none of us can hear each other because we're so spread out trying to ask Simone questions. So Simone gets asked the same stupid question 12 times. When you have a press conference, everyone can hear each other. And so people don't ask the same stupid thing 14 times. Also, some of the questions people ask her just plain freaking rude. Like me and Heath kept looking at each other like, is this a joke? Like one person asked her like, well, if you're not here for medals, what are you here for then? And I was like, you do not talk to the queen like that. Take it back right now. Anywho. So
it sounds like it's going great.
I didn't hit anyone and I didn't yell and I didn't cuss anyone out. And I'm really proud of myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, you guys, I'm a grown up. So if you guys love this kind of content, this is
that really fun story. Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about men's vault, where I was like, excuse me, gentlemen, do you know this is men's vault? Coy started with 2 stuck safe vaults. Where are you? Like, what is happening?
Yeah. Somehow the scariest vault came from Artur Daftian, who is the one who's not scary because he has such wonderful form. And we talked about it yesterday. I was like, everyone's terrifying except Artur Daftian. And then he has a very strange vault, especially for him, and it lands short and has to like duck and swerve not to end up headbutting the vault itself when he lunged forward. So it ended up being fine, but he was like, he had to be very careful about where he was lunging in order to not like headbutt something.
The fact that the how opposite this vault final was from a normal men's final event, the absolute pinnacle of it was that the cleanest, safest gymnast, Artur Daftian, ended up underneath the vault on his vault, literally underneath it. It was, the backside, not the front.
It was an upside down vault final.
Everything was, it was Stranger Things. So medalist Jake Air Pirate Jarman changed his earrings for the medal ceremony. Did you notice?
I did not notice that, but
extra bling. I asked him about it. Of course, the important fashion questions. Getting to the what you want to know about. So I asked him about that. Also, he forgot that he liked the nickname Air Pirate, so I reminded him again, and I was like, "Are you still okay with Air Pirate?" And he was like, "What is it again? Air Pirate? Yeah, okay, I'm good with that." Apparently, he's really into architecture. Who knew? Jake Jarman, you guys. You think about him as a tumbler, right? He's freaking world champion on vault.
Well, I mean, he's always been really good at vault and floor.
Yeah. I'm super stoked. Yeah. And then Coy in his clean ass eye tiptoe up to the vault. I just run real quick at the last second and then stick my vaults like a super pro because I don't run and go crazy. I have nuance. Coy, silver medal on vault.
Both excellent. I want to ask you, because the second I saw this result come up, I was like, I'm worried about Jessica, because maybe the controversy of the day was the bronze medal going to Cheperny from Ukraine rather than Radovilov from Ukraine. I thought it would be the other way around.
Igor was robbed. He was robbed. I am not over it. It's not okay. I do not understand this result at all. It's so upsetting to me. How could they possibly judge Nazar when he was challenging men's gender standards with his skort onesie outfit that he vaulted in? What was he wearing? How do we get Coy and this guy in the onesie bloomers in the same competition and they're wearing the same uniform? I don't think so. Igor, you could see his form because he was wearing an outfit that fit. Another reason he should have at least gotten bronze. I will never get over this. What has Igor ever done to you?
Nothing.
I mean, honestly, nothing. Igor did his handspring double front half, tiny hop. His legs are together. None of these other dudes had their legs together. They were crossed. They had flex feet. Then he does a souk double pike, and he was actually piked like we want an Inbar Stalder to be. Like his nose was almost touching his shins. This is proper and what other dude does a double pike like that? Even Simone's double pike isn't that on her vault. Isn't like that. What does he have to do? He took a big step. So what? His form was better in the air. Do we care anymore?
We're so over caring about steps. It was kind of the reason I think it's a strange result is that it kind of went against what we've always known, that over rotating, stepping back is the better problem than being under, stepping forward, being short, which was Igor completed easily, lunging back. I'm done. Yes, I stepped. Whereas with Cheperny, I thought he was short on both of his landings. And he covered it very well and controlled it very well, but he was just a little bit short on both of his vaults. And that didn't seem like that was deducted the way it's supposed to be, or the way we're always told. That's the worst error.
I'm very upset about this. I'm never going to get over it. How many times does Igor have to get fourth? I wrote Igor into third place because I was like, oh, those vaults are sloppy. He's stepping all over. He's never going to beat Igor. I don't understand. I texted my, male judging friends. They're not males. They just judge males. To be like, I don't understand. Why?
I didn't get that one either.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about it. The example of what's wrong with men's vault, and if you can show, fact check, if you can show the graphic that we have underneath us of the scores, this is everything that's wrong is when we say that vault, and this counts for women's too. Like, let's not pile on men's vault. I mean, let's make room for all the judging of vault.
Let's make room for all the execution scores. They're all bad.
They're all bad. Like, here you have someone that has a giant sideways step on the mat is only 0.3 lower than a stuck landing between where we have Paul Judah and like Coy. Like, how does that make sense? That doesn't make any sense. And like Coy has some form in the air. Like, his feet aren't great. Jake Jarman doesn't point his feet. Like, there are things, but I'm just like, the differentiation, it's ridiculous. Like, we talked about this yesterday, and I think again, it's important that we have we talk about how they can use all the numbers. They don't just have to use the last two in the scale of 10. And also that they should, what Spencer said, double the deductions for vault, because it's not right. And look at Igor in fourth. That's also not right. That's the wrong place for him.
Obviously unacceptable.
I'm so upset for him. Paul Judah did a nice job too. He did a double pike. It was very nice. He also barely runs. Apparently this is the trick about vault now. Don't run. Just tiptoe up to it like you're sneaky. You don't want to scare it because it'll throw you off. You'll fly onto your butt. Tiptoe up, then run real quick at the end. And that's how you have controlled landings. Why didn't anyone tell this to the men's 2003 vault final where everyone was carried out on a stretcher? Someone should have told them.
Or just run like Igor, who has, an iconic run.
He does have an iconic run. You know what I noticed about men's vault that I didn't notice before is like they all run crooked.
Like crooked, like angled?
Like one shoulder is hunched more than the other shoulder. So they all look like they're leading with like one side, like they're going to storm a building. And like, when you storm a door, like
I'm very familiar with storming,
and you have to run into it with your arm. I was practicing with my shoulder, I was practicing this earlier since all the exits were locked in the arena, how I was going to unlock the doors in an emergency, because that's the kind of thing I think about. No, let me tell you how bad the arena was. Even Fact Checker was planning how he would escape because of how bad things are, like getting in and out and how squished everyone is. They have concerts here all the time. I don't know how they do it, you guys. Also, we didn't talk about Eddie Penev qualified to the Olympics. Bulgaria. Kevin, sorry, Eddie. Oh, God, you guys. His brother.
Yes.
I missed the most important behind the scenes. Guess who was sitting next to me during men's vault? Also from Bulgaria. One of our favorites.
Oh, Yavchev?
Yavchev.
Oh, yeah. How did it go? How did that go for you?
I was very calm and relaxed about it. He offered to get up. He was like, am I in your seat? Do I need to move? And I was like, no, it's an honor to sit next to you. And he didn't laugh out loud when I said that because I meant it. And then I got to, hear him talking about all the vaults and what he thought. And like, it was really interesting. Yeah. Good. He wasn't as gutted for Igor as I was, but
well, no one could be.
I know. Also a reminder, there was no Carlos Yulo in the final. So does it count?
So it's disqualified. No Igor medal, no Carlos Yulo, doesn't count.
Is it like the 84 Olympics where like the Soviets weren't there, so we don't count it? Yeah. Also, everyone should wear their shorts like Coy. How is this even the same sport with the shorts wearing?
What we've learned is that Jessica's biggest problem with men's gymnastics is that if you don't have shorts like Coy or Sun Wei or Heath, it doesn't count.
If you're wearing skirts, it's not the right sport. You need to go back to 1920s women's gymnastics when those were allowed to be worn, but we're done with those now. Oh, I can't with these. Also, the way that congratulations to Nazar, and it's great, and it's a great thing for Ukraine. And I don't want to, just make my jokes. I mean, I do want to make my jokes, but also the way the way he taped his knees made it look like from the end when he was at the end of the runway, it made it look like he had just tattooed 2 big black dots on his kneecaps, which I thought was hilarious. Anyway, I was like, wow. They're really into these tattoos. Do you remember when gymnasts used to tape up their tattoos because they were afraid of getting deducted for it? No, they're just change on your throat.
There was definitely one time I feel like Chelsea had tape over her like Little Worlds tattoo.
Yep.
Even
and even Alicia Sacramone used to tape over her Olympic tattoo.
But that could have been one of those Marta things.
I mean, I think people still were really afraid of because Panora used to do it too. She has that big hip tattoo she would tape. Because her Leo went so high up, she had to tape her stomach to not show that stomach hip tattoo. What were these two? We had 2 comments, sorry, that I missed.
Archie Riverdale says Marta made Alicia.
Yeah, Marta made everybody. But I think
Marta made everybody do everything horrible.
But I think there was a general sense that you would be deducted. Gymnastics fan.
There was a woman in yesterday's vault final who runs like a sprinter, starts head down and lifts as she runs.
Colleen Deviard.
Yeah.
And she also works with a sprinting coach specifically. And it's like you can tell because she runs really fast and she makes herself aerodynamic by like keeping her head down and running like a bull. And then you stand up at the end. That's like for aerodynamics or something, right? I assume it is. This is how all the sprinters do it. They literally start in a crouch. I'm waiting for someone to start in a crouch. But their legs are going to be too tired. I know. The men will end up off the podium if they do that. Yeah. Simone almost ended off the podium the other day. Okay. P-bars happened?
Yes. So the big controversy, I want your take on the participation controversy. Because Daggett has some thoughts that Shi Song, silver medalist, was replaced on the Chinese team by Lin Chaopan for the team final.
So he shouldn't have been allowed to compete.
He's allowed to come back in to compete in the P-bars final, even though it's a team of 5. Which I agree. I think if you're replaced on the team of 5, then you're off the team of 5.
The difference, right. That's the thing. If you're replaced in the team of 5, you're replaced. Just like, so we think about Simone in Tokyo, she wasn't replaced. So, because the meet had already started, but she was never replaced, so she came back.
Right. She was not, She competed for a score in the team final also.
Yes, she did. That's true. So in this case, he never competed, was replaced.
Well, he did compete. He competed in qualification,
then was
replaced
replaced
on the team for the team final.
And then was allowed to come back.
Competed in the event final.
I mean, I guess we have to know the nature of his injury.
Do you? I don't think that's relevant.
I guess it's like, well, anything can clear up in a day. I mean, I know Tim Daggett thinks they're cheating, basically, because everybody knew that Lin Chaopan.
Careful not to say we don't say they're cheating because this is in the rules. It is because you're allowed to do it. So it's like
right. But I'm saying what Tim thinks. This is what Tim thinks, not what I think.
Yeah.
Because if you ask anybody here, they'll be like, "Oh, China planned this all along because they already planned to fly Lin Chaopan in, and so they already planned on replacing him. So she was only gonna compete like this anyway, and then he was gonna say he was hurt, and then he's gonna come back. So I mean, I honestly don't care. I feel like there should be a big pool. There should be like 10 gymnasts, and you can just pick whoever you want. Then people wouldn't have to do this whole injured and not injured thing, or like I'm better now, or whatever. Like I just I don't care. I guess Lucas Dowser is going to win anyway, so I don't know what the big deal is. I mean, did this screw over someone? No.
Well, theoretically, it screwed over, the 4th place finisher.
But were they going to win a medal? There's too many people in the finals anyway, honestly.
It's too many. How many people do you want in the final? In event finals?
That's the thing. I mean, I feel like all around
15 for beam, 2 for parallel bars. That's what Jessica wants.
I mean, I don't know. I think there are worse things than you can do. I mean, if Tim Daggett is implying that this is unfair, I think there's worse things that you can do than this. Yeah.
Namby Pamba says, using scores from 6 different gymnasts when it's supposed to be a 5-person team. And Tim was very careful, saying it violates the spirit of the rules. Yeah, he was. He was like, it's not cheating. It doesn't violate the rules. I'm not accusing the Chinese team of cheating, but I don't like it.
Honestly, this is a smart use of the rules.
Yeah,
and if the FIG doesn't like it, they should tighten the rules up. Like we're going to talk about the vault situation yesterday again, because there shouldn't be 2 different ways to interpret the rules. And this is the problem with so many of these things is nobody thinks about the way they can be used to someone's advantage. So like they're within the rules. I don't have a problem with it.
I mean, it's within the rules. I think it shouldn't be within the rules, though. I think you shouldn't be able to have, like, if you have replaced someone on the team, like, you can have 6 people if someone's injured. Like, you had 5 people on your team in qualification. Someone's injured. You need to replace them with the alternate, with the non-traveling alternate in the team final. So I'm fine with the concept of getting 6, like, scores from 6 different gymnasts. But if you've replaced someone on the team, I don't think they should be able to come back into the team of 5.
But what if it's a situation like someone has a cramp, so they can't finish that day?
Fair argument. Yeah.
But that's a difference between like an injury and I mean, I don't want them to overturn this, like the situation with Simone, but that was different because she wasn't replaced.
Right.
So yeah. And I don't say that because it's Simone. I say that because I feel like you should have reasons to be like, today I can't get out of bed for mental health reasons, so I literally can't compete. And the next day or literally an hour later, you can be totally fine because that's how mental health works sometimes. So yeah. Lucas Dowser, very stoked for him. Super happy for him. He's been right up there on P-bars for a long time. And he finally did it. And I don't think anybody was happier in the arena than he was, except Flavia, who said, now that she's tasted one individual medal, now she wants more.
I do too.
Also, Enrique, their media guy and judge and translator in our videos, was covered with even more glitter this time. He had glitter in his hair, glitter on his face. Like every member of the delegation was covered with glitter already, and it wasn't even the end of the meet. They didn't even have their medals yet. So they're going to have fun tonight. This night's a banquet, and everybody parties, and it's going to be great.
And it's done. Done.
Because
Andrade had to go to sleep after the team final because she still was focused on getting her all-around silver.
Yep. All right, let's talk about high bar final.
Yes, so we had an Olympic spot up for grabs in this one, which went to Tim Srbic. Arthur Nori was the other one who was eligible. He fell on a layout to Tkachev in his routine. So that kind of sealed it once Tim hit, and he got silver. Hashimoto won gold. Su Weide of China, bronze. Also didn't think it was a controversial result. Karimi, I thought had an argument for bronze, but I didn't think it was extreme. Paul Judah also hit a really clean routine. Best execution score in the final, rightfully so. He just doesn't have the D score.
Paul Judah also gave a full speech to the camera. Could anyone hear what he said?
It was like, thank you. Thanks to everyone at home,
Oh, that's nice.
Normal stuff. He wasn't like making a big political statement, which I know is what you were wishing.
These boys. I'm waiting. You end your career now. Make a political statement.
It was Normie stuff.
Ilya Kovtun wore his No War t-shirt last year to Worlds to start it off. Take a risk. He won a medal this year. So I'm so bummed for Nori. But I did talk to him afterwards, and he said that he had he can go the world circuit route and win it that way. And I was like, well, maybe it'll be a little easier for you now because Tim Srbic is out of it. He qualified. So now he was like, I don't know if it's going to be any easier. He was like, I don't think so. But, he held it together long enough to, answer a couple questions and about how happy he was for the women's team and how amazing it was to see their success here. So that was really nice because I know they're all like close. Remember they did that big Disneyland vacation together? It was like Nori and the whole women's team. Remember that year? You don't remember. You don't ever go on any social media.
That's correct.
Smart. But Tin Serbic also said his name means like little Serb, but he's Croatian. Fun fact. This is the kind of thing Ollie Hogben would tell you if he were here. Yeah. So I just want to. He was doing commentary with Hambushin tonight. Yeah. Anything else from the? I mean, also High Bar wasn't terrifying. Like, who are these men?
I know it was. They had a non-terrifying competition.
Yeah,
after Toba got injured in podium training.
Yeah, and like Tin Serbic was great. Like I was like, oh, absolutely, he should win. Like he wasn't happy that he didn't win gold, and I was kind of like, but Hashimoto was like Hashimoto was like almost so clean that it makes High Bar not death-defying, which I appreciate and respect. But I'm also like, could you act like it's a little harder or scarier for you to make it more exciting? Like, look at these dudes over on rings making all the faces, winking, wiggling their eyebrows, doing head rolls. Like, take one for the team over here, Hashimoto. But he was so clean. I mean, I don't think there's an argument. I mean, Tin's routine was also really clean.
Yeah. And as someone mentioned in the comments, he also got an inquiry accepted.
Oh, yes. The real victor of the competition tonight? Yeah. Inquiries.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I did want to talk a little bit about what happened with the vault scenario.
Okay, yeah.
The administrative error. Which, what is the administrative error they said they made? Allowing.
I mean, they've not specifically copped to anything, but the error is allowing Botchkoy into the final to begin with.
Right. So in the past, I two sources confirmed this to me. That in the past, so we're talking about what happened in the women's vault final when there were 9 gymnasts in, and therefore one gymnast from Hungary got an nominative Olympic spot when it had already been earned by a different Hungarian gymnast. And Leanne Wong had to petition, the U.S. had to petition to get her into finals because she had a higher score than the person from Hungary who was put in above her for the reserve. So basically that in the past, the third gymnast per country had always been a priority over the printed reserves.
Right.
It was only until recently that has been kind of made more clear. So,
well, apparently not clear enough.
Yeah. So it should have always been that Leanne Wong didn't have to petition. She should have always been put in. If you have a higher score than any of the reserves, obviously it goes to you. And that should be the only way it happens.
Yes. And that's you've just described the administrative error that took place.
Right. So anyway, just a little follow-up on that.
Botchkoy confirmed by the FIG as the Olympic qualifier. So now on vault, so Sekai of Hungary does not have an Olympic spot that we thought she was going to have on bars. What turned out is then, because she doesn't have that spot on bars, the person on bars is Atziri Sandoval, who was going to have the spot on vault. So it works out for her. Sandoval's win either way, whether it was on vault or bars. She's like, I'm going to the Olympics. You can do the all around at the Olympics. So she's got it. But for Zoya Sekai, is the one who got screwed out of an Olympic spot.
And it would be her all around spot.
Every spot is an all around spot,
except the event final spots.
So sorry. Every spot
I know they compete
qualify
in
for the
all
Olympics,
around.
you compete the all around. But yeah, she would have gotten that spot on bars. She would have been the bars qualifying gymnast.
Okay, because Khalil Namor,
Jessica had
Khalil Lincoln.
Yeah,
I can't wait for her.
Yeah.
Because Namor got an all around
qualified
spot,
via the all around, so
she didn't need a bars spot. Yeah.
Correct.
So the thing is, like, I understand everyone's upset, and I would be very upset if I was Zoya didn't make it. But Hungary could have decided not, if they really wanted the spot to go to Zoya instead of Botchkoi, they could have just not put Botchkoi in, which would have been horrible. A terrible thing to do. But I feel like
that be like, yeah,
they're not going to be like, no federation has ever done something so distasteful before. But then it's not like Zoya is totally out, because she can still go the World Cup circuit,
World Cups. Yes.
Or she can go the Continental Championships. I mean, it's going to be really hard.
Yeah, I mean, if you are European, I'm not banking on the Continental Championships.
Yeah, but it's not impossible. But I'm just saying, there are other routes that this could have been avoided. Well, number one, the FIG not doing it, but the other route is that Hungary could have been like, no, we already qualified a person, and you shouldn't be in there. Like, you didn't score high enough. So I'm just saying, it's not all on the FIG, this situation.
Yes, it is. 100%. Yes, it is.
I'm just
they
presenting.
Are the ones who made the mistake.
They are, but I'm presenting different options.
You are presenting incorrect options, and I respect you for doing so.
Thank you. What was that last comment we got?
We had a question about which Pegu gymnasts do we think are best positioned to get the Olympic quota from the all-around rankings at the Pan Ams later this month, especially now that Mexico has reached its individual quota cap. Yeah, because Mexico has Moreno, who qualified. Moreno and Sandoval both qualified individually, and they got the extra, like, for the country all-around spot based on their team finish, so they're already done with their 3. And S Green asks, Hungary has maxed out its spots, though, right? Yeah, so they have also a country one, Chifra from the all-around, and then Botchkoi here. So they've maxed out their spots, so you can't, they couldn't go to Continentals, is what
or the circuit route?
Yeah, so they're done.
You can't have more than 3.
They're done.
Okay. Wait, let's answer that other question about the Pegu before we get to these other questions.
Because we're ignoring that question because I don't know. Because U.S. women already qualified, Canadians already qualified, Brazil's already qualified, Mexico's maxed out its spots. So there's an all-around spot for someone to win. And
Hillary's already qualified for Panama.
Yeah. She was just ahead of Carla Navas, also from Panama, in qualification. The problem is Isabella Ayala of Argentina doesn't turn senior until January, even though it should be her. That's the answer.
It should be her.
The justice system is broken.
In my mind, all I'm seeing is the Argentinian flag, which I obviously only know from gymnastics. And so I'm like, that's who should be there. But wait, why? So Cordelia, though, has an idea.
Cordelia said Carla Navas, Panama, and Olivia Kelly.
There you go. Haiti, Lindsay. I mean, Lindsay could.
She could, yeah. I think she needs more D score than what she showed here.
Yeah.
Maybe the same with Anya Pilgrim.
Yeah. I mean, I think if Lindsey Brown has more time, she absolutely can do it. Because she's going to hit. She just needs to be more consistent and add a little more D, but like what she does is so clean. It depends how much she can train too, because she can definitely add more on floor, but like, can all of her Achilles repairs take it?
Yeah, or could add more on bars because she's doing basically an NCAA routine.
Yeah. Do you think Elzadek, our Georgian Egyptian gymnast, will get a continental spot for Africa?
I don't know. Who was second to Namor at African Championships all around this year? It was Abdel Salam. I think the other, but that one seems very like.
How many people are qualified for South Africa? They only have one right now.
Rosecrans got the all-around spot for South Africa, so you could have like Darius would probably be a front runner.
Yeah, that's who I'm thinking right now. But Elzadek, she just needs a little more. She needs less NCAA in her floor and beam. I mean, they're great and they're super entertaining, but they haven't married. And she talked about that. She's like, I didn't know I could do a forward roll instead of a full turn. That's the greatest thing ever. She just hasn't had enough time to reconfigure that.
To FIGify her routines.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm really looking forward to that because I also, her and her coach are just hilarious together. Like she is so like NCAA, woo. And he's so like loving and helpful, but also like, I'm horrified and embarrassed to do this, but I will do it because I do what I need to do for my gymnast. And it's just the most awkward thing in the world. And I love it. So more of that.
MDH says, what are Chuso's chances now that everything else has shaken out? Chuso's chances depend on Russia, I think, a lot. She can go to the World Cups. She can get a spot, one of the 2 spots on women's vault. It's possible. It's hard because there are going to be people like Lisa Vallen of Belgium, she was out with mono, and Belgium didn't qualify anybody, so they're potentially looking for a spot. Nina will be looking for that bar spot. Sites will be. Does Germany still has room? Because it's just Schaefer and Voss.
Yeah.
Wait, did they also get no? But they also got the team.
They get bumped.
One spot, so they have 3. So Germany has their 3, maximum 3, but one of them hasn't been assigned. So we assume that'll go to Sites if she's healthy. Otherwise, probably Emma Malevsky. But both of them won't have room to go.
Well, how did they get their last assigned spot? Because the apparatus went to Voss, the all around
to Schaefer, and then their team finish. They get 1 more for the country.
Oh, that's right. And Germany, Mexico, and Hungary.
Yeah.
Oh, so why can't Zoe? Who's from Hungary that qualified in bars and then got kicked out? Why can't she get that spot, the assigned spot?
Because Kovac is going to get it.
Oh, yeah. Kovac is going to get it. That's right. Forgot about Kovac.
I mean, basically.
Their best gymnast. Oh, yeah. Her. Okay.
I mean, you would. Like, if you're strategizing. If she's healthy.
Yeah.
But they could. They could give it to Zekai. If Kovac isn't healthy, I think you would.
Yeah. Taryn asks,
can you talk about some of the Asian countries prioritizing Asian Games over Worlds? What makes it such an important meet?
Dominating the region politically.
Yeah. Regional pride, cultural pride, history.
It's like the Commonwealth Games.
Monetary bonuses depending on how your country and how their rewards for athletes go.
Yeah, it's like Commonwealth Games is like totally meaningless to us, but it's like a huge deal for the Commonwealth countries. Mm-hmm. It's just one of those things like, the football Super Bowl thing, like who cares about that? But if you're American, it's like, oh my God, you have to go to a party and there's like disastrous food and then the commercials are the best part. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah. Yeah, it is. And like European championships are a huge deal in all sports for Europeans, but like we don't have the equivalent caring about like Pan American championships in any sport. They don't, like, it barely registers.
Yeah, except like wrestling and boxing are probably the only ones because the Olympic champions are all competing against each other in those sports in Pan Am championships. Or there's often several Olympic champions competing in those. Right. You're welcome, Spencer. Now you know more about wrestling and boxing.
Ooh, my dreams come true. I love both sports so very much.
Okay, let's do a little World Championships review.
I would love to.
Yes.
Okay, so
we still don't know where 2025 Worlds is. I thought they were going to announce it at the very end. They didn't, right?
I haven't heard anything.
I was in the mix zone fighting verbally.
Yeah, I haven't heard any confirmations.
Me either.
Okay, so World Championships. Simone and Andrade tied on 5 medals for the most successful individual championship. Simone wins the tiebreak because of like golds, but they tied for most successful individual. Brazilian women, I think one of the biggest stories, what a successful event they had, if not the biggest. So they won 6 medals. Brazilian women's team won 6 medals here. Andrade had won 2 each of the previous 2 years. Before that, so like as of the Tokyo Olympics, they only had 4 medals in history, the Brazilian women, and they got 6 at this competition, like in the last week. So it's been kind of a big deal.
And it's been so long coming for them. I mean, like, that's one of my, like, absolute, and fact checker, if you can show this, like, one of my absolute, like, feelings moments of the entire meet is watching Dania Hipólito, who was Brazil's first ever medalist in 2001. 2001, you guys. That was 22 years ago. That's crazy how long ago that was. And just now they're, winning all of these medals. And especially the team medal. Like, it's a huge deal. And watching her watch them and her just sobbing and sobbing and sobbing, watching the team win a medal, and then them dedicating this to the previous generations that came before them, that laid the path and the foundations and, all the things that their coaches learned from, and all the training programs they have set up. Like, watching them pay homage to the women that came before them is just like such a beautiful thing. And her reaction is just like, it's so precious and awesome. And that just made me so happy. Bawling your eyes out feelings moment. Yes. That's what
Jessica
Worlds
got
are all about.
Her feelings moment of Worlds. Check. Done. You got it. Okay. Feelings moment done. Breakout stars of Worlds. Women's artistic gymnastics category. I think I'm giving my breakout star of Worlds to Zhou Yaqin.
Yeah.
Because she was supposed to be like the member of the Chinese team we talked about the least at this event. Like, she was the 5th member of that team and ended up being the star of the competition, along with Chu, who won, a casual world bars title, but
world champion.
Yeah.
Chu.
But Zhou is like the new one on the block who we were not expecting to be, beam silver medalist, making the floor final, making the most finals for China, having all of these amazing routines, all of these amazing scores. That was really fun to see because, we watch gymnastics like all year long and all of the meets, and we kind of like know generally what's going to happen. People fall in meets, things happen, but we know generally like who the best people are. So even though like Chu and Namor are new to the world championship stage on bars, seeing them go 1-2 on bars was not a surprise because we've seen these routines all year long with Zhou. It really was a surprise that she had such a strong competition. Not that she had potential, but that she had such a good competition.
And I would like her to set the standard for matching your makeup to your leotard and your leotard animal. And I would like everyone to have like a Pikachu Yorodaki moment where she had her dragon and green dragon, green makeup. I would like everyone to have an animal and their makeup match. This is my dream competition.
I would like everyone to have double tucks on floor that look like hers. That's what I want.
Good luck. Who's your breakout?
Do you have a different WAG option, or are you supporting mine?
Well, I want to mention Hillary.
Yeah.
Because people are so stoked. I mean, we've talked about her being the other gymnast that does the biles. And of course,
Hillary Herón from Panama.
Yeah. And all of you guys, I know.
Not Hillary Clinton, just in case.
Not Hillary.
Yeah, I know it was easy to get confused, but we were in fact not talking about Hillary Clinton's double layout half out. We were talking about Hillary Herón.
Hillary Herón or Hillary Clinton, there's only 2 Hillarys. And I know all of you TNT people, the biles existed in TNT for many years, but it's new to us, so let us have our moment, okay? New, I mean 10 years old. But people just love her gymnastics, and she has great gymnastics, and it was so fun to see her get so many people talking about her and loving her gymnastics here. So in terms of a breakout star that people really weren't talking about very much before, I think she is the person I'm going to go with. Do you have one for the men?
I'm going to go with Koi Young for the men because 2 individual silver medals, amazing performance in his first Worlds. Like a lot of the men's medalists, the men's champions had either won before at Olympics or Worlds, or were like Lucas Dowser, where you're like, I can't believe you don't have a gold medal on this event before because you have like 9 million silvers. But Koi was really the surprise. I mean, it's not a surprise we've seen his routines before, but the surprise that he came through, had such a great competition, and tested himself for the first time against the best people in the world and was like better than most of them. I think that was a big deal. I mean, also you could go with Fred Richard too, I think, but I was like ready for that more than I was ready for how good Coy Young's performance was.
It's almost like someone told you about this back when he was a junior.
Well, who didn't you talk about back when they were juniors?
All right, listen, you can just say you were right. Thank you. I'll accept it.
I absolutely cannot say that. Have you met me?
I don't know. Like you have to tell me what you think, but the person that stood out for me the most in the men's who I hadn't really, I just hadn't paid that much attention. It wasn't like because most of everybody here I've seen a lot before, there weren't a lot of new talent, but Harry Homeslice from the UK, the British. Harry Hepworth.
Oh no, he's going to be Harry Homeslice for the next 20 years, isn't he? Oh God.
He'll forget about it. And oh my God, did you watch our interview with Jake Jarman yet? Jake Air Pirate Jarman. It's so funny. I was like, do you want to say your nickname? Like, look at the camera with your medal and be like, hey, I'm Jake Air Pirate Jarman. So he starts
so
and he's like,
Jessica, why do you do this to people?
Well, he said yes. They can say no. Some gymnasts, I was like, hey, we've already interviewed like 4 times. Do you still want to do an interview? If you don't want it today, it's totally okay. And some gymnasts are like, yeah, I'm okay today. So that autonomy. He's a grown up. But because gymnasts do say no. But anyway, he was like, oh, okay, I'll do it. So he holds up his medal and he goes, I'm Jake. Okay, what is it again? Air Pirate. He's like, Air Pirate Jarman. And I was like, world champion. He's like, oh yeah, world champion. It's the freaking cutest thing ever. That guy and his earrings. I'm a big fan. He's going to do big things. But anyway, Harry Homeslice is my other person Hepworth is the other person I really like, because one thing is like, you can see how bad he wants it. He is like pissed when he doesn't do well, like in a Leanne Wong / Skinner crossover way. And I love seeing that like competitive, because gymnastics is so nice and everyone's so nice and supportive. You know what I mean? I want to see someone like rip their chest hair out, like scream at the judges. So I like that.
I thought Pin might have been doing that for how long his high bar score took to come up. He was not happy about how long that took, not happy about his D score that they then inquired, and the inquiry was accepted. But I was like, that was like the closest I think we got to someone who was like legitimately pissed.
Yes. And then when he didn't win, he was just like, all right, this is lame. So anyway, Harry, I also just enjoy his style of gymnastics. Like, I like double flips. I like fast twitch gymnastics. It's just really fun to watch. I appreciate the elegant gymnastics of other men, but Harry Hepworth.
Yeah. Yes, bright spot. Him and Jake Jarman's performances have kind of saved it for the British. And Megan says excited for Ruby Evans.
Yes, Ruby Evans had a great comeback. Like, she came back and was like, I'm hitting all the things that I had problems with, and I am going to be here for the team. And she did it. And I feel like that really lifted her spirits, because I think she was really gutted, as the British say, after, her fall on her Almanar and her other fall. Like, she did a great job coming back. So I'm stoked. And also I like Almanars.
Gymnastics fan says, article says FIG awarded 2026 Artistic Gymnastics World Championships to Rotterdam and 2027 to Lisbon.
Oh, Lisbon. Okay, so 2026. Wait, so we
knew about Rotterdam.
We knew about Rotterdam, so we didn't know about 2026. So that is going to be... Okay, so that's awesome. Rotterdam's great. I love Rotterdam. I don't know anything about it. I've never been there, but it's Holland, so what could be wrong? So we still don't have 2025. It's weird that if it was really going to be in Brazil that they haven't announced it yet.
Where is this Lisbon coming from?
I don't know. Do you see it anywhere? Is that a secret?
I don't see it anywhere.
Aren't all the drugs legal in Portugal? The article's from May 2022. There's nothing about 2025. Oh, yeah, that's an old... Wait, no,
it's not going to be Artistic Worlds in Lisbon.
Right, that's something else. It's going to be Rhythmic or something.
It'll be
because Rotterdam we knew about, right? Yeah. Okay, So, oh yeah, the other breakout star of men's, that guy that's in charge of the U.S. men's team.
Brett gets breakout star. I like it.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I think it's like everybody.
World. Brett had a good Worlds because he can now point to like the plan is working.
Yeah,
this was better, and the plan is the plan's in place.
Because people were really pissed about his plan, but I think he slowly got them on board, and then he made himself head coach, and they've had their best World since
in a long time.
In a really long time. So I think he should be really proud of himself. And he can do a little breakdancing, as seen in our montage, the coaches that participated. So, the World Gym Strada is in Lisbon.
In 2027. That's a different
If you love adult gymnastics, go to the Gym Strada. That's basically what it is. But they also have, I bet they have the Swiss rings there, which is the coolest event ever. Look it up. Google Swiss rings. Okay. Concepts that won this event for you. Won this Worlds.
Concepts. Okay. Broadcasting qualifications. Allgymnastics.tv. The concept of allgymnastics.tv was the breakout. It was absolutely no Zhou Yaqin, no Koi Young, but allgymnastics.tv was really the breakout star of Worlds. A real game changer.
I think so.
We got to watch qualifications.
Yep.
Starring moment. Now we really need them to broadcast the Apparatus World Cups next year that are Olympic qualifiers.
They're a big deal, you guys. Yes. We need them really bad. My God, they're going to be so exciting.
I know.
I just have to say the other breakout star was really the sewage smell. Just the general poop stench.
Yeah. Really.
People walking in and being like
a...
Do you smell that? Is it me? Like
a
that
young
happening?
Audrey Hepburn just emerging onto the scene was that poop smell.
I mean, they're having, I think they have erected a temporary building for the banquet tonight, and it's even closer to the recycling factory. It's even closer to the poop smell sewage. So, I mean, that'll be fun. So we'll look forward to your reports, gymnasts that go and officials and everybody else that's at that tonight. Tell us how it is. But they also have an actual living tree inside of it. So that might save a little bit of the smell. I was impressed that they built around the tree. Any other breakout?
I think
or non-breakouts?
I think that's Worlds.
Okay.
Archie asks, Spencer, do you think they need to upgrade Arabians in the code since they've seemingly all disappeared? Yes.
Like just beam Arabians?
I like all Arabians. I like floor Arabians. I like beam Arabians. I think they should all go up.
Dismount Arabians? Yeah. Jess
says, did you have any chance to speak with Chelsea at the end of the competition? Curious to hear a summary of her thoughts now that it's over.
No, we did not. I asked her for comment, and she said that she was, focusing on the meet. So I don't even think she stopped. Laurent Cecile stopped a lot. We talked with Brett. We talked with Sarah Korngold, Shailese's coach, 2 or 3 times. But I don't think Memel stopped. But I did ask for it.
At least after that first time.
Yeah. And I mean, the other thing is she talks, she's, very open to talking all the time during the year. So I think, if she wants to just not talk and focus on Worlds and let, the actual coaches and gymnasts do it, that's fine.
Yeah. I feel like she and Alicia maybe together should do a state of the team every couple months where they just do here, we'll answer some questions or we'll talk. This is what's happening. This is what's going on.
Yes. I love that idea. Okay. So,
Georgia Cat says breakout event, Jessica losing her wallet.
I'm never going to hear the end of this. Oh, so embarrassing, you guys. All right. Thank you guys so much for all the chocolate. Thank you for your support. please stick around through the rest of the year, NCAA season. All of these World Cups next year are so important. We'll have all the extra bonus coverage for you. We do 2 podcasts a week, and we do all this extra podcast once a week just for you guys to answer your questions, because we appreciate you guys so much, and we want to give our Club Gender members all the information that they want and entertainment that they deserve. So thank you guys so much for being here. Thanks for joining us live. We'll see you back after our break, but now you have lots of time to catch up on all the interviews, all the videos, and all the 170 million podcasts that we did from Worlds, and the over 200 videos that are up on our YouTube page that you guys can check out from Worlds until we come back from a well-deserved break. So thank you so much. You guys remember to take off on gay, split on rights, and we'll see you on Behind the Scenes on October 20th. Thanks for listening.